Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm DJ Amakria, Track Amp ENT, and I'm gonna ask everybody up front, smash that like button. It will help me so much if you like these type of tutorials. And today we're gonna be talking about mixing and mastering, and more or less in specific, we're going to be talking about parallel compression. So real quick, parallel compression is a pretty cool technique. It's used basically to keep the sum of your dry mix and the sum of your compression, kind of getting the best of both worlds, thus why it's called parallel, because you get one half and then the other half, and they're on right beside each other, kind of like the equal sign. And it's also known as NY compression. So it's kind of like an NY style way that engineers used. They kind of use this more or less on rock records. So I got a track. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it in 3, 2, 1. So it's coming in loud and hot, and it already has parallel compression. Then we're gonna get deeper into it. It's a track I really haven't just worked on all the way through as far as laying it out. Got a few things to add to it, but just want to get you into it. So the audio example there, I use parallel compression, and I think I'm pulling it up. I'm gonna give it a second here. Yeah, press work, and press work is a dynamic processor, aka a compressor, aka a limiter, aka everything. And one of the more peculiar things about this compressor is that it supports every style of compression there is, from mid to side and parallel compression. Wing wing. So, in a nutshell, parallel compression, if you think about, and if you do kind of have a gist of it or know something about it, outboard gear or whatever, parallel compression is usually used with the DBX. And I can't think of the full name of it. I think the DBX 670, which is a outboard gear compressor. That Waves actually has one now of emulation of it. But in a nutshell, as you can see, I want you to draw your attention to this dry wet knob. So as you can see, I have some of it wet, some of it dry. If I pull it all the way to the left, it is dry. So I'm going to play it dry. So, pay attention. If you have to close your eyes to actually listen, please do so. As you can see, it's a little bit more aggressive because a lot of the signal is not being ducked. And if you actually pay attention to the VU down here, you actually can see. So, you have that. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make it all the way wet. And yeah, fish. So now that you hear that, you actually hear some of the decibel drop. And I can actually get a nice cute little representation here. So I'm gonna go back to the dry real quick, and we're gonna see the aggressiveness of the dB meter. For those who have like a VU meter, like on your audio interface or whatever, however you listen to your music, any type of visual representation, you see that is peaking all over the place. So it's not very controlled, but it's very aggressive, like the track. And if you go to the wet, you'll hear that it is obviously audibly lower in volume and compressed. So, I didn't like it all the way dry. I didn't like it all the way wet. So what I did was I found some middle ground by using parallel compression. Now, parallel compression, what it does in a nutshell is that it reserves the naturalness of the aggressiveness of the track while compressing the stuff that you do not want. But at the same time, when you compress, sometimes you get a little bit of a characteristic of your drums ducking, which sounds good but may not be as punchy. So this kind of parallel compression gives punchiness to either your overall track if you're doing it, on just your master bus, or if you're just doing it on your drums, it gives your drums the punchiness without it being so overly aggressive and overly or without it clipping. So we play the dry and wet. So essentially you might have like your overall settings that you like your compressor at or whatever that about your music, because I already have my threshold and ratio set, and I have my attack pushed, and this basically is kind of classic, the way the attack and release is set in this particular compression, in these particular compressor settings, as far as I have it peaking more than I have it more musical on this end as well. But that's just how I rolled and how I wanted the track to feel like, but the parallel compression gave me the best of both worlds of how I would want it to be mixed. Traditionally, you would set up a drum mix and do parallel compression. That's actually how most rock engineers kind of mix their stuff, because they have certain things like they have their bottom end of their kick and of their snare because the way they mic'd it. Then they'll have like a mic on the top, where they record the overheads, and then they have the room where they have like the boominess of the room, or however the room is set up in the studio, and get that, and then they'll bust all that down to one track, and then they'll kind of like either parallel compress it or whatnot. But that's kind of how that works in that setting. But more or less in my particular taste in hip hop, and just the way I like to use parallel compression, I do it on the master track, which could be cool or whatever, depending on what type of DAW you do, because some DAWs don't. If you track it out, it might not track it out parallel, if at all, depending on your DAW. So yeah, that's basically about it. So if you like this video, give it a like. Once again, smash that like button. It helps me out, and I'll greatly appreciate it and talk more. And if you like what you heard and you got any more questions, just ask. I have another video coming up. I'm going to talk about clipping, because a lot of people always say, hey, this seems like it's clipping or whatnot. And I'm going to tell you some things that you may or may not know about clipping in the box, which is very important. So, yeah. So, check out other videos. I have other videos, mixing, mastering playlists in my playlist area, which this would be a part of the playlist area. I mean, part of the mixing and mastering playlist, and other reviews and other things that I discuss on this channel. So just shedding light, because these are options that you should know as an audio engineer or up and coming audio engineer or producer, that could actually shape your track and give you a heads up on the competition that doesn't want to learn. So yeah, I'm DJ McCree, and I will be back soon, and I bid you a good day if you're going to be out on it. Thank you so much.